There's a lot to cover today. This story is probably as good a starting place as any. A crazy dog nutter brought a busy California highway to a standstill just to, I guess, save some mutt that was wandering about. I could say a few things about this story, but what really struck me as a sign that humanity has completely gone to the dogs is the comments. People are really acting like our species has some moral duty or obligation to protect dogs, to feed them, provide them shelter, promote them, help them, coddle them. And people don't just shelter dogs in the sense of providing them with a safe place to stay. They actually shelter dogs from the consequences of their own actions. And I still don't know why people have this ridiculous attitude towards dogs. Hell, some even make it their life's mission to do nothing but help dogs. And I don't understand why. Dogs should be thrown to the wolves, maybe even literally, or to lions. Next, you know how I used to address comments in my community section a lot? Well, you may have noticed that I haven't done it in quite a while, with a couple of recent exceptions. Anyway, one of the people I tagged actually made a video response to one of these posts, and honestly, it was very disappointing. Which is unsurprising, but somehow still disappointing. She brought up horses pretty early on in her video, which as we know is a total red herring.
A few moments later.
Horses also, unalive, as he says, people quite often. And I don't see you saying, obviously horses, it's usually their owners because they aren't exactly wandering the streets, but I'm not saying dogs should be wandering the streets either.
It's so weird when people go to horses or cows as their immediate reflexive counter thing. And for the record, there is no counter to our anti-dog arguments. It's weird because these are animals that people in towns and cities almost never run into, or so much as see in person, and which they in fact have to seek out in order to interact with. By contrast, the same obviously cannot be said for dogs, which are unavoidable whether you are in the city or in the country, and whether you are a dog owner or not. She also says this, which I thought was interesting, in an odd and refutable way.
Breeds should be banned, that some breeds are unreasonably dangerous to people, but if you have a large animal, they're going to hurt people at some point, regardless. That doesn't make them a dangerous animal. It means there's an abnormality with those ones that did. It's not a common thing for dogs to attack people at all. Well, most breeds, that is.
This bit where she claims it's not a common thing for dogs to attack people, wow, I can't not address this. When dog defenders talk about dog-originated aggression in this way, falsely describing it as uncommon, they only think of the worst kinds of attacks. They ignore all the bites or attempted attacks. They don't think of just how often dogs attempt to attack people, or desire to do so, literally every day, around every corner with a dog behind a fence, for instance. When viewed in this context, dog-originated violence is exceedingly common. It is the norm, and again, this cannot be stressed enough. One big reason we see far less dog attacks than there are, and let's not delude ourselves about how common they are, is because dogs are thankfully restrained or contained much of the time, either on a lead, or behind an enclosure, or inside their owner's house or flat. Just imagine the carnage that would ensue if all dogs were allowed to roam freely. And I know this girl claims she's not saying this should be the case, but this is a big problem with dog idealists. They ignore reality, the way events and practices actually play out in the real world. All the lip service they give to responsible ownership, it does fuck all in the real world to combat the actual habits, practices, and proclivities of dogs and their owners in general. No, I am not saying literally every dog owner is the worst kind of nutter imaginable, but that does not need to be the case. Dogs are inherently aggressive, and the fact that aggressive behavior training exists is testament to this fact. But I don't want to go off on that tangent. The real point is this. What we actually see and experience as a result of dog ownership being an unbridled and unregulated widespread practice that's marketed aggressively, that is what matters, not what individual dog defenders claim they advocate for. Because in reality, Dog owners, by and large, are simply going to do whatever they're going to do. And dogs simply aren't pleasant or kind creatures. But this is someone who owns 7 dogs. Don't take my word for it.
Basically, this person was getting recommended to me on YouTube for some reason, and I left a comment on a video by Harmful Opinions saying I don't know why, because I have 7 dogs. I have 7 dogs.
I need to take deep breaths. I need to take deep breaths.
Just speculation, but I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that the post-nasal drip she mentions she's had since 2019 may have something to do with the fact that she's around 7 dogs. There was a comment posted by someone else on her video, and she herself claims I'm somehow unreasonable for wanting to change something as horrible, pervasive, and dangerous as the whole dog thing. As if humanity has never pushed for social change before, or for the expansion of rights to more people. Pet ownership isn't even a right, nor should it be considered one. But even if it were, in this case, removing one would protect the rights of those adversely impacted by dog culture. This is someone who seems to believe serious dog attacks are rare, when in fact they happen literally every day if we take a global perspective. Dog attacks in general and dogs harassing, hounding, menacing, annoying, or terrorizing people, that happens every single day in every dog nutter country. There is a lot more I could say in response, but a line-by-line debunking and analysis would take an eternity just to write out, let alone edit into a video. So I think I will skip over most of this for now and return to it later, but not before addressing this portion, which can be found towards the end of her video.
This guy, he's traumatized because his girlfriend's dog pooped on his floor and stuff and she wouldn't clean it up or something like that.
Or something like that. You don't even have the details straight, as that isn't even what happened. And that's one incident out of many far more serious offenses. I also never said I was traumatized by this, so I don't know where you got that from. This was an incident where the dog she insisted on bringing over to my apartment urinated on the bathroom floor. And yes, this was not great, but I honestly forgot about it for a long time. Although I will say, it was the last time I allowed anyone to bring a dog into any house or apartment where I lived. See, this person got this from a list I made containing many reasons why I hate dogs. One of them includes a dog literally almost causing my death, but this is what she focuses on. I don't know about you, but I think that's incredibly weird and disingenuous.
It's yeah, that's awful. And, that's pretty horrible, but still. And then he's saying, why aren't dogs banned yet? Well, that's a dog attacking a koala. Cats also kill the wildlife frequently.
Here we go again with the distraction animals. You may recall this concept from a previous video. If not, here is a very quick refresher course for you. Distraction animal.
A random animal that provides a perceived benefit to dog nutters, the existence of which they erroneously believe counters the fact that dogs are destructive, dysfunctional, intrusive, hyper-aggressive, and a net negative to society.
I seriously can't believe brain-dead dog nutters are still trying to bring up cats and random wild animals as a distraction from dogs. I've pretty much seen it all by now. Idiotic comments like,
"I'll bet you've never lived in a house with parrots."
Or,
"You've obviously never met the field mouse."
well, these ridiculous red herrings no longer surprise me. And seriously, the field mouse? What in the actual fuck is going on in these people's heads? It has to be parasitic brainworms from dogs. I've made like 3 or 4 other videos and countless posts addressing this. First off, those animals simply aren't causing problems like dogs are. And here's the thing as well. Even if some of them were, dogs are obviously still trash and should not be given a pass. Furthermore, ignoring the problems caused by dogs on the basis of other problems in society would be like a murderer trying to say that their crime should be overlooked because other people are also murderers. Actually, it would be more like someone harboring a murderer or perhaps a terrorist trying to distract others from them. And in this specific case, they would point to something that actually isn't even an issue, like non-violent citizens who aren't even really doing anything.
And then that's 8-year-old girl mauled to death. So these things don't happen on the regular for most breeds. They do for like pit bulls and stuff, but most dog breeds aren't mauling children. There are many dog breeds that have never mauled children. That's a stray dog attack. That's different because they aren't living with humans. They aren't being raised with humans anymore. They no longer rely on people, and they are acting more like wild animals, like wolves. Some thoughts on my dog doesn't bite. Well, what if my dog doesn't bite? What if they don't? But yeah, anyways, I just wanted to talk about that because I only just got the mention and I thought it was, oh, there he is arguing with harmful opinions. I just thought it was very funny that it kept coming up. And I'm not a dog nutter. I have, I'm a cat person. I just don't think dogs are like vicious, mutated creatures that we need to ban from society. Okay, they're being annoying, but so are a lot of other pets. And if you can't stand the dog barking, I don't know, get away from people. I can't stand cars driving past. I can't stand teenagers screaming instead of speaking. I can't stand drunk people laughing. So you know where I don't live? In a suburb. And I know that there are people who don't have a choice, but it's like, well, that's what you have to put up with when you live in a suburb. Maybe we should ban drunk people from walking down the streets, or maybe we should put a noise limit on teenagers, you know? Anyways, bye-bye.
So, if we ban dogs, we may as well ban everything. That's really what you're going with?
Dogs are on the loose. They never listen. They never let me pet them. They just bark, and their owners forget to let them in sometimes. It's fucking hilarious. A woo 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 woo. A woo 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 woo. A woo.
That's dogs for you. And this is what they're like when they're on the loose. And of course, they can be much worse than that. Anyway, I won't play the next video, but I will talk about it briefly. It's one that was brought to my attention a few days ago. The video is titled, Ohio Woman Arrested After Choking Dog, Hitting Boyfriend. As Dark Bergen points out,
that kind of behavior doesn't manifest out of thin air. Important context is missing. I doubt we'll ever know the full story.
And of course, Ricky Rick, who shared this video, had this to say on the matter. As he points out here, videos like this certainly demonstrate that dogs don't relieve stress, and obviously can't read people's intentions or somehow discern a, quote, good person from a bad one. I have definitely seen assertions about dogs attacking their owners purely out of self-defense, but like so much of what dog cultists say, this is, to use a scientific term, absolute bullshit. As I think I've mentioned before in several places as well, I am constantly getting reports like this one, and the details may vary, but it's always a dog at the center of some conflict or an unpleasant or threatening situation. I've actually thought about compiling a bunch of these reports into one long video before. Dog attacks never stop. I don't know why anyone would ever say that dog attacks are rare. As someone who keeps up with news stories related to such incidents, and as someone who has absolutely no trouble finding material, rare is certainly not a word I would use to describe them. In other news, it looks like we got a shout out from this dog shill.
When you're walking with a dog in an airport, like 3 types of people who you're going to encounter. First kind are the people who are like, oh my God. And then can I pet them? And they're very sweet and all of that, but they definitely ask. They stop and ask, can I pet? And then you have the other kind who, like, they cannot help themselves. They feel like they are, I don't know if you want to use entitled or whatever the word is, like they literally, it's probably like a condition, a syndrome. They cannot physically help themselves. They have to pet the dog. And then when you tell them, no, you can't pet the dog, they give you the look of death, like you're the biggest asshole. And there's the third type of people who just hate dogs, scared of dogs, think dogs are dirty, you shouldn't have it in an airport. They give you a dirty look like you're an asshole.
Gee, I wonder why! Get lost in the sauce, now you can't find your way out. Drugs don't play out, habits don't pay out. So stay out the dreams if you don't like the feed.
So what do you do with your service dog when you gotta pee? I don't wanna bring them all the way in the bathroom because they're just nasty. So I'm gonna drop them right here. A little bit out of the way, okay. Finish. Good. Down. Handle business. His job's to stay there. We'll be right back. All right, so that's how it's done. No muss, no fuss. Don't forget your suitcase.
I was just watching your videos.
Oh yeah, thanks.
It's bad enough as it is. that nutters like this one are not only taking large mastiffs and bully breeds into airports and other public spaces, he's recording this to boot, receiving support from just about everyone he interacts with, and he even leaves his beast unattended and unleashed. This is why I am so depressed whenever I think about dog culture for too long. Well, it's one of many reasons, frankly. I feel like society is getting worse and worse in this regard. When I speak of how there is entirely too much permissiveness with regard to what dog people are allowed and enabled to do, this is exactly what I am talking about. The increasing prevalence of lax attitudes towards dogs in public spaces, particularly concerning unleashed and large and obviously dangerous breeds, poses significant risks to both human safety and societal order. And no one seems to care. No one bats an eye. When dogs are allowed to roam freely without restraint, the likelihood of aggressive encounters escalates. Studies have shown that unleashed dogs are more prone to exhibiting aggressive behavior, especially considering how easily provoked their adherents claim they are. They basically claim that just about everything under the sun is a provocation to a dog, all to avoid admitting how violent dogs are. Thinking back to earlier in this video, I'm noticing a common theme. The denial is strong, is it not? Public spaces are meant to be safe havens for all individuals. Wariness of dogs in known nutter areas often leads to decreased use of communal areas such as parks and sidewalks, which can diminish the quality of life within a community. And I guess now we can add airports to the list. Dogs on airplanes is honestly the main reason I don't fly anymore. Before some childish dog defender starts talking about how I'm scared, there are dogs I know I could fling across the room in the event that they attacked me. But there are still dozens of reasons for them not to be on airplanes or even in airports. Something I originally intended to address in this same video, and which I will likely devote a single, one-topic video for later, is this. I mentioned before that just about every video titled "The Truth About Pit Bulls" contains anything but truth. And at another time, I plan to show how the same few nonsense stock talking points are constantly parroted. And then, there is Mr. Muffin Man. Apparently, he's been running his mouth about our community. Every new video more disingenuous than the last. He's really not worth responding to. Which is why I personally haven't made more than a single video addressing him or the bullshit he says, at least thus far. However, I think it is worth mentioning that I pointed out his blatant dishonesty not long ago in a community post, and he has since blocked me from his channel. And as I've just found out this morning from a subscriber, he apparently plans to stalk our community while blocking us. Literally none of these bottom-feeding, dog-worshipping nutters that emerge from the murky depths of some godforsaken, mutt-infested shithole somewhere, none of them are original or honest. It's nauseatingly predictable at this point. And why do they emerge from the depths of some mutt-infested shithole? All to trash-talk our community, distort or deliberately misunderstand our position, and slander us. Mr. Muffin Man is fundamentally no different than SSR or Abordes, and not a one of these cretins have anything new, insightful, relevant, or informative to share with us, or to say to the world, or anyone. On a much more positive note, I love seeing stuff like this arising from this movement. It's a dog critique zine which Sheepy's Web is working on, which reminds me that the world is long overdue for another anti-dog book. If I remember correctly, IHD may or may not be working on one. I myself have actually been writing, on and off, for a couple of years now actually. But if I'm being honest, I will most likely never finish this work. Although I can write up a storm for video scripts, even song lyrics, writing a book is a very different kind of endeavor, and I find myself struggling with it. But if I ever do finish it, I will most likely make it freely available online in audio format and sell a print version as well, if. And, as I often but not always do, I am going to close out with a song. I normally just play the thing and usually don't say anything about it, but I should point out that this is not a song I wrote myself, although I have rewritten parts of it actually. I've recreated an original song through AI. It has nothing to do with dogs. It's one whose lyrics, at least parts of them, have resonated with me at different periods of my life. The original is called Respirator. Without further ado, here it is.
Sometimes you stop to just take a breath. You breathe in the air and you get upset. You don't want to change, I just think you need a little time alone and away from me. And I'm not the only thing in the world that's in your way. And I know it's hard sometimes. You misunderstand all those things I say. And I don't need anymore anything to control me. I've put this all in the past again. Said I won't feed anymore anything to provoke me. Then I wonder why I try again.
Listen, I think that maybe this way that I feel's a side effect from trying to balance my soul. Instead I keep dividing it, hiding it from situations that provoke my bad side, and keep it all from bubbling over into a landslide. I'm medicated just hoping that it'll fly by, but sometimes I need to take a breath and I'll be alright. Up all night because all of this is getting to me. I know you probably wanna hit me, but breathe with me.
Sometimes you stop to just take a breath. You breathe in the air and you get upset. You don't wanna change, I just think you need a little time alone and away from me. And I'm not the only thing in the world that's in your way. And I know it's hard sometimes. You misunderstand all those things I say. Feel like I lost the race and picked up the pace. My timing's off, I'm well aware. And I can't believe I say those things I say,
As if I just don't care.
maybe I care too much. Sometimes you stop to just take a breath. You breathe in the air and you get upset. You don't wanna change, I just think you need a little time alone and away from me. And I'm not the only thing in the world that's in your way. And I know it's hard sometimes. You misunderstand all those things I say. And I don't want anymore this external controlling. Desperation never seems to end. So I won't try anymore. Not afraid of devoting. I just don't wanna feel that way again.
I think that maybe this way that I feel's a side effect from trying to balance my soul while I keep dividing it. I try to get back up, then I slip inevitably. Situations develop out the mist of irrelevantly, like breathing in exhaust fumes while exhaling the hate. So many days gone bad, it all seems to fade and dilute and pollute and contaminate each breath of air. I'm taking breaths in moderation, as if I just don't care.
Sometimes you stop just to take a breath. You breathe in the air and you get upset.